Hello, Mr. Stefan Schmidt, here
Hello.
at NonLinear Labs, MESSE. We're here a little bit early while they're still tuning the pianos, right?
Yeah.
And we're looking at your brand new C15, which
C15, right.
is a very unique instrument, right?
Yeah, we have chosen a very, let's say, own approach to an electronic instrument. It's made mainly for those who really want to play. So we expect people to use it as an expressive instrument, more like an acoustic instrument could be. And that's also what the sound character of this synthesizer. It's a synthesizer, but it doesn't sound so typically as a synthesizer. Its sound character is more organic, acoustic, and it has a spectrum that can, where you can seamlessly go from these sort of acoustic sounds to very electronic and abstract sounds and experimental stuff. So, yeah, there's quite some experience behind in the development of synthesizers and sound.
Yeah, well, your background is Native Instruments, obviously, isn't it? Being one of those guys who started the company. So.
Yeah, but we try to make it also a puristic concept. So using only the necessary components and not overloading it with lots of features and loads of, let's say, oscillator types or filter types or whatever. It's a very puristic approach, and the same is with the user interface. We have chosen something that some people reminds to the synclavier. So we select parameters by these buttons. And we add it in the central panel. But the upper panel is more for the sound design situation, while the lower part of the instrument is for playing. The playing is the main thing, so we want to address those who really want to play, even if they are not sound designers. And on the other hand, we can offer a very advanced sound design interface. So when it comes to the play interface, we are dealing with a very good keypad, which is very playable, with some unique, very long stripes here for changing some, let's say, main parameters.
So like expression.
Excuse me?
For expression.
For expression or for variation of the sound. Also. Specially developed bender that could be used for pitch, but everything else as well. And I would say the most important, if you're playing with both hands, are the pedals. If you want to change sounds or if you want to be expressive, you better connect some pedals. And so we have connection for 4 pedals, and at the moment using 3.
Well, perhaps we could just have a listen to a sound and then discuss what is actually making these sounds, because I'm quite intrigued as to the engine.
Yeah. Okay. So first, some impression of the sound, or some sound.
Maybe we should introduce your colleague here. Sorry, what was your name? Federico, thank you. It's got a real, like an organic FM quality to it. So I'm guessing, there is. So what sort of structure is happening under the hood there?
Maybe I can show the structure on this page. Is it possible?
Yeah.
So we are dealing with only with 2 sine wave oscillators. So that's the source of sound. Right. For everything else. But they can be combined in an FM structure. So one modulating A modulating B and B modulating A. So this and the oscillators are combined with shapers, which means that the sine waves can be distorted to other spectrum that is more richer spectrum.
Yeah.
But we stay with only 2 operators if you compare it with it's a
Wow,
Yamaha,
that's a pretty kind of bold approach, I guess. But you can get a lot of tones. I mean, there are you can hear that kind of synthesis tone to it. Definitely. That
we use them. Sometimes we use them only as exciters for the filters. So there's a comp filter that has the character of it can be like a string or so, like a physical modeling.
Okay, like a resonator. Yeah.
As a resonator. So we have either we have a structure purely FM, or maybe FM plus subtractive filtering, or FM just as an exciter for a resonator, and we have lots of feedback available. So we can feedback the signals that come from the output, from the output effects back into the filters or back into the oscillators, or from the COM filter or state variable filter back to the oscillators. So this gives lots of flexibility.
How is it to create sounds? Because it seems like kind of an unfamiliar structure in some ways. You know, people are going to have to get deep to sort of figure out how to get the most from something like this.
Yeah, it's not an instrument that gives you, let's say, the perfect result in the first day. You really need to invest time. I mean, it's not a cheap instrument in the way of talking of money. So it's also not, let's say, not easy or not cheap for the sound designer, but it's very rewarding after a while. Yeah, you can dive very deep and you can explore an astonishing wide range of sounds that you get from that.
And has it got also onboard effects and other processing as well, right?
Yeah, there are 5 effects in the flanger. Or flanger, chorus, phaser. There's a cabinet that is kind of an amp simulation or distortion. There's a flexible 8-pole filter, we call it gap filter, an echo and a very nice reverb. So you can use these effects, as I said, also in the feedback path. So so you can create sounds that sound a bit like maybe also feedback guitar or so, because it goes through a room and then back to the guitar model, and that creates this. Very acoustic impression that you get. Right?
And in terms of expression, I mean, we've got a nice keyboard on there. Do we have aftertouch? Do we have poly aftertouch? What have you got?
Actually, poly aftertouch is not available at the moment. We are working. We have some research on that field, but it's a normal aftertouch that you get. And the most important for us is that the action and the resolution that we achieve. So the action is done we get from the FATAR, the top quality keypad, and the resolution is by our internal, let's say, processing. So that's it's not, let's say, revolutionary like maybe the Rowley thing or the Haken or so. We are not leaving this area of black and white keys. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, it seems like that. So the internal resolution. I mean, obviously, it's running on DSP. So you've got what's the actual?
Actually, we are not running on a DSP. We are running on an embedded PC, and so we have an embedded PC that is used for 32-bit floating point processing, and we have a Linux system in there that is for the user interface. And there is a microcontroller doing all this real-time stuff. So everything is 32 bits. But we are not on the DSP.
Okay. And what about audio output resolution? What are you outputting? What's your kind of final?
The outputs.
What's the DAC final resolution?
It's just it's a standard thing, 24-bit. And we at the moment to be honest, we are running at 48 kilohertz. But it seems that if we get a bit more efficient by optimizing, we will offer even more voices. We have 12 voices now. Okay. And I think we can get up to 20 voices or 24 voices and also 96 kilohertz.
Okay, so does that mean that there are likely to be changes to the synthesis engine and advancements because it's essentially soft? You can change or tweak it, or you trying to keep
right.
it?
Yeah, that's so. We are now in a stage where we think we can really offer a valuable instrument, but will be an evolution in future. We think about improving the engine, improving the things behind, let's say, what is behind the cover. But yeah, we can even offer completely different synthesis engines. So if you look at the panels, they are covered by magnetic foils.
Ah, okay.
So this is a big advantage of this concept. We have 96 buttons, which are fully, let's say, software defined. Yeah? And so if we improve the engine or replace it by something else, or
you could just send out some different panels.
Yeah, we send the people new panels and they have a new user interface.
So perhaps we could have a listen to a few more sounds, and then I can think of some more questions to ask you.
Okay.
So is there MIDI resolution in there as well? Does it output MIDI or receive
Actually,
MIDI?
no. We have a radical point on that. We didn't put any MIDI on it, so it's an instrument to be played. We don't want computers to be connected. We don't want any automatic thing going on. So we don't have sequencers inside.
Right.
We don't have even an LFO inside.
Right.
Because everything that is doing this sort of modulation or control, being a control source, and which actually would be the musician, would be the best control source. Yeah, that means for us, okay, let's keep the thing out and focus on the musician and yeah, let's.
So you're
play.
making something that you want to play. That's quite a controversial approach, I guess, because it's because of when you think the cost as well. I mean, it's like, well, we've decided that it's going to be used this way, and that's quite bold, I think. So.
Yeah, I want it to be like a central piece for the musician, not to be the controller for something, not to be the expansion for something. It should be self-contained, a piece that somebody is really playing for years and he's really rehearsing on it and really getting on stage with it. It's an experiment. To be honest,
you should just put MIDI out only, and then people can play other instruments with the keyboard, but they can only play it from.
Yeah, but you see, I see it's a problem that people get distracted by too much of technology. They can combine A with B and they can do everything, and you get lost. Instead of getting creative in the field of music, you start trying to find ideas what you can combine. And configuring a very complex studio environment or, let's say, software environment.
It's like IT management, rather.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, some more sounds. That was nice. Unusual, there's some distortion in there and like room distortion. Interesting. I mean, it has a definite flavour. It almost has a sound, which I think is kind of it's what any synthesizer manufacturer kind of almost wants in a way, to create something that sounds very much like what it is, rather than sounding like other things, I suppose. Yeah,
we are striving for getting a result that has a character that can be recognized, or that is something also maybe for me it's missing in the market. Of course, I'm a keyboard player. I'm not a professional, but I really like to play a lot. And yeah, when I'm looking for certain sounds, and if I don't get them, so I say, okay, I have to make it create it myself. And yeah, it would be nice if it would be kind of a recognizable sound source in future, or really taken as an instrument, like maybe yeah, electric piano or clarinet or organ can be there. We don't want to compete in the, let's say, or be in the competition of being as flexible as possible, or being as original as possible. Like many manufacturers try to emulate the classics of the music industry. Yeah. This should be a thing by its own, on its own.
I get that. And in terms of the control resolution, as you're saying about the high rate and the expressivity, I mean, are there ways that you're handling things like velocity and aftertouch in ways that make it more expressive than regular?
Yeah. It's much more than MIDI can handle. So it's thousands of steps of resolution. Yeah. So and that's where also MIDI, if giving it a MIDI connection would really reduce the resolution.
Okay, I understand. Okay, I get it.
It's also that you can assign, I mean, they're all continuous controllers. So that's also another idea. So for example, this is not only for the pitch, but if I just want to use it this way to just dampen the sound a little bit, like.
That's very sensitive, right? I see what you mean.
It's not, or if I want to use the.
It's for touch.
Yeah, the sustain pedal for something else.
Yeah.
For example, I show you.
You're using a continuous pedal.
So it's all continuous, right? I understand.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know much as it's interesting at the moment. I think the show has begun. So I know this instrument is not what many would consider to be affordable, and in some ways, it's. I think it's good that there are instruments out there that people are high price and are trying to attain high concepts. So I guess it's time for you to tell us what that number is, right?
Yeah. So yeah, for the private customer in Germany, like including tax, it would be 4,000 euros. So okay. that's the purchase price. And we think, we can offer a good value for that. As if you see the materials and the way it is made, we do it all in Germany or in Italy. So it's not a China thing that we try to press down the prices by optimizing production in a way. It's a small series, and therefore I think the prices. Also, if you compare with acoustic equipment, like if you buy a guitar or something like that, yeah. So this.
That's what you're aiming for. You're aiming for a kind of like, well, not a Stradivarius, but a sort of a high-end.
Or pianos or so. Yeah. And but we don't want only to serve, say, the people with the big budget. So we offer also a model for paying. That is what we call rent to buy. So you can start by 80 euros per month to get hands-on the instrument, and whenever you want to stop this thing, you can return an instrument. And also people we have a buyback plan, so anybody who already paid a lot of money on it can return the instrument to for a fair price, and we will refurbish the thing and offer it as a for the customer that don't want to have to use it.
Well, I guess the thing to do now is perhaps play out on a few more sounds, and we can have a listen to that, if that's okay. Can we listen to more sounds?
More sounds, yeah.
Stefan, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for coming here. Yeah, thanks. Mit nach Sachsenhausen. Ja, Sachsenhausen war nicht zufällig. Komische Apfel.
Thank you very much.